We're back. One more battle bus ride taking us in to game number 4 here, Jacob. But the important steps are starting to be made. The players have had a slight opportunity now, revitalize themselves, see if these strategies, revisit some of those strategies even for a good portion of our teams realistically. But for Doxy and Tayson, this has been the early game theme so far here today, because these guys have just been clashing nonstop, but we saw that Brazil interference take place in the last lobby, so both these teams know they have got to be even faster with this outcome. It is all or nothing, because if Brazil continues to intervene, they're just not going to be able to build back up from Rangers' ruin.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one, but it was 2 different teams, but the drop remains the same. The 50-50 on one of the chests. For Doxy, he's going to have to disengage and try to find some floor loot elsewhere. Chicho was taking a good brunt of that damage, but it's Pablo who does get dropped first. Chicho as well. And this is a good opportunity as Chino and Doxy are in a 2v2 situation. They're trying to close the gap, but Doxy goes down. Tayson, the 5-time champion, is going to fall as well. Now Chino's in a peculiar situation as he gets eliminated in the 1v1 against Triss.
It's a tough break there for Doxy's team, but hey Triss, what a come up. Chicho and Tayson are both very likely going to be revived, but they gotta be very quick because still other action across the map. Veno, Vico in a very tough position, but Yuma, he's not gonna be able to escape. Veno finds the knock, finds the full elimination here, taking full advantage of that siphon, but he still has Rise up above. Veno trying to be very wary here. If he goes down, that is the end of it for game 4, and they still want to be able to strike inside that top 10 for the leaderboard, but Veno wrapping around underneath Rise, even though he's overhead, Veno has the shield HP advantage. Veno still breaking through, doesn't get the shot that he wanted to, but Rise taking a huge chunk of his HP now. Koyota still seeing if he can apply a little bit of pressure on the backup section, but Veno, even in the 1 versus 2, he refuses to budge. That is Aura.
Oh, he finally gets the knock on Rise, and that was huge. That was 200 IQ coming out of Veno, because Vico was down. Koyota went down to finish off that elimination, which gave him a huge 1v1, and with a third party coming in, Alex and Rise have had enough, as Veno's gonna be the one that cleans up that elimination. But what do you do from here? You do have the chance to get the reboot cards, but your POI has now just went to someone else.
The problem in the red alert there is that everybody knows that it's just Veno by himself. That reboot is going to be tough to make it towards, but Gabzetta, Scarpa away, already tangled up here. Snowy on the loops, trying to get the runaround, but completely caught off guard. Gabzetta, nice knock, transitioning into the elimination here. Way, Scarpa to Gabzetta, they're now in the driver's seat, and Ryu, Saad, potentially heading for the hills instead. No, they're willing to clash head on. They still don't want to depart.
We're getting 4 times the point in that last game, but for Ryu and Saad, they gotta really try to figure out a way to win this fight or get the reboot card and disengage. 80 points, they're on their way up that leaderboard. For Way, Scarpa, and Gabzetta, this is almost a must. They've been landing all around the map throughout the earlier games so far. Last one, you saw him lurk up out over to Rangers' Ruin, but they just haven't really defined that success. And this is a great opportunity with a mismatch and a numbers advantage to try to pick up these 2 more eliminations. And most important, the loot and the position to build those surge towers.
But Way, Scarpa, Gabzetta, they're still not done with this just yet. Saad and Ryu are causing enough of a delay, and if both of these teams aren't careful, a third party could definitely enter the mix. They've got to find these quicker eliminations here. Saad, though, having a very tough time. The material count's running so incredibly low. Nobody's really had a chance to recuperate anything just yet, but Way, Scarpa, Gazetta now approaching from a separate angle. Saad completely pinpoint isolated. He can't get the backup he needs. Way just continuing to close in here. Scouting out. Okay, Saad overhead. No, it's just Ryu instead. Saad taken out. Ryu nearly out of this one, but just doing his best, and it's just not good enough when you're dealing with the full trio of Way, Scarpa, and Gabzetta. Because most people on socials did not have them anywhere near this spot on the leaderboard. They've been holding their own as Panzer, big shot onto Mansour. That's gonna be a huge opening now, and Yapko seemingly energized by that, just following it up. Panzer with a third elimination now onto Belor. They are getting active so early on.
Yeah, 6 eliminations. They play against Tinka as his trio off spawn.
reverse pressure. He's making it very difficult, but the builds are running so low. Baka, Pars, Pump. Pars is down though. It's just Baka and Pump now left to try and recover the situation. What looks so promising at the start, Cold is trying to shut down, but Cold needs too much damage. He has to pull back. He's got to wait for Ritual and Peterbot to provide, alleviate that pressure. But Peterbot, Ritual, now looking to try and dive forward. They need more Surge.
Oh no, from bad to worse. Baka and them on the other side. They now only get the reboot, but the first knock on the Cold yet again. Earlier in this game, they took down Peter, they took down Cold, and they took down Ritual, and it was on top.
Kind of placement points they might be able to collect. Every little bit counts for that team, but Vanya, secondary height, Cammy, Hadi, and iDrop, they've also been rather quiet throughout today, Jacob, but that could change in an instant. Mr. Savage, Reason, and Chap now trying to make sure that their back tarp is fully closed off, but Savage not having the opportunity yet to keep building through. Chap picking up where his IGL left off. That is always what you would hope for in a team. Iyamzo is sadly going to have to play it through with just Higgs though, and this is a tough spot to be in unless Higgs finds a big elimination for the refresh.
That was not only points for the elimination, but placement points as well, as the full trios wiped off the map. Acorn, Savage, King, Tayson all going down. Yamso as well. A good shot being landed, but not good enough. He gets steamrolled by Darm. Marius is the one who took down Poyo. Him and Vanya are feeling the pain as well, because they have to do it without Pixie.
But they've at least got frontside low control, and that's gonna have to be enough. They're gonna need as many eliminations as possible because they need more materials, and we haven't even started the conversation of how to deal with Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache up above everybody else in this lobby looking substantially healthier too.
I feel like I've seen this episode of Fortnite before. Game 2, Game 3, and it's looking like it could be possible for Game 4. 370 points and counting. Only 2 teams in front of him, both of them weak. Vanya trying to do what he can, but he only has one teammate, Marius as well. But the full trio up above, they get the wipe onto one. They're looking to close this one out as well. Marius in his line of sight, but Swizzy, he takes a big shot. That's a surprise attack, but luckily for him, his 2 teammates have his back. Mustache gets the drop on the Marius, stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. 3v1 situation, and they go back to back to back to win another game.
When have you ever seen on the global stage the trip skis of victory royales? Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache are setting a new precedent here in the 2025 Globals performance, Jacob. This is insanity what we are witnessing right now, and they deserve all of the credit. But Frankie, let me know what else they have to say. They could be in a world of trouble, but it's Marius, it's Peterbot. Both of them are not, but Pixie, he's got the better end of this deal. Vanya's still lurking overhead. Cole trying to see if he can recover anything from this situation, but it's not gonna come to fruition just yet. In fact, Pixie, he's gonna even be able to play for the revive. Vanya Boo Boo not willing to chase down Cole just yet, but maybe after using some of these small shield potions, he'll feel a little bit more comfortable with that battle. Trouble still stewing. A look back into Rangers Ruin. We know so much about this Osmond battle, and Chino opening up big time, but Chicho thought he was gonna be able to 180 that occurrence. Still, Tayson from behind manages to knock Chino, but this is just messy right now. Still, the big day holding it down. Pablo, though, still trying to see if he can punch his ticket in this lobby, work with them what they've been afforded, and especially considering that Coyota eliminated Veno very early on, but still, Nico, Plixie cover the situation, and now look what Veno's able to accomplish. A Minish clean wipeout there by Veno.
I think Veno needs to...
He wants to maybe try and set up for a Brienne on their back target, but they know there's another team directly underneath them, and it's gonna be School and Southgo caught off guard. They're not gonna be able to make that transition. Art still trying to press forward, but he's stuck in the corner. Art trying to fight back, but there's nowhere left to run, and Bolts finds that elimination.
That is a lightning strike if I've ever seen one myself. Bolts taking down all 3 players of the NA West Major 2 champions, Arksville and Salco. And the thing about Arksville and Salco, I saw it for just a quick moment, they were below the damage threshold as well. So their aggression, even though they are picking up eliminations, isn't working out as good as they hoped.
But it's still a damper for Kanata and Bolts. Bolts now losing all of his shield. Still, he'll have the opportunity to recover that, but it's the loss of Rapid that's really going to start impacting where Bolts and Kanata might end up here. Fortunately for them, Zone pulling a little bit away from those mountain faces, so as a duo, they can still look to break through the low ground, but Queasy, Mustache, Swizzy, Gentlemate's going absolutely ballistic in this audience right now, and for good reason. Mustache said it, we're just gonna keep winning, and they've got 3 already at the international level, Jacob. A land historic event, and they're still looking to see if they can get more.
We are literally watching the Queasy legacy in the making. Levin said it himself. The last time Queasy won 3 games in a row, he went on not only to win that major, but win 6 out of 12 games. Something that has never been done on that region of EU ever before and ever again. And this could be that moment in history that you look back at when you talk about how great Queasy actually is. It is all because of this, but there's still so many threats in their path. They just have to look up. They have to try to go for high ground and stop the plate trade. Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo, they have been known to do it on NA Central. They just have to figure out how to do it here on the international stage.
And they might have to deal with Pars, Baka, and Pump along the way. Yapko, Seti, Panzer, they've also done a rather excellent job at just maintaining consistent performances, and they're looking for yet another repeat here, trying to clear some space in that secondary height, but they know if they want their odds to turn this into a victory royale, they're gonna need more than just secondary height. Pump falls to Clix. This is big time for Xset because they need to pop off here.
Yeah, they truly are looking elite as a trio and taking the front side of the zone, something Yamzo knows to do best, but they have to be careful. Marius, Vanya, and Pixie, they're bouncing around with those crash pads, instantly climbing up that mountain, and that just means better positioning right away, and that gives them that luxury to look back, see all these other players rotate through. He's peeking through the stair, he sees Acorn, Aders, and Pollo, but it's not ready to go for it just yet, and nobody has even had an opportunity to look up. They're attached at the backside of zone. They're attached right in the middle. It's not even going to be easy when somebody eventually does.
But that's the problem. Nobody else can actually make their way up towards the high ground because Sweezy, Queasy, and Mustache refuse to budge. They just keep shutting down every single opportunity, forcing these teams to converge onto each other as iDrop now trying to see if he can collect an elimination there, a knock, anything. He needs a massive refresh here, but it's Pixie who finds Hadi, Marius, Pixie, and Vanya now looking to see what more they can seek out.
4 eliminations so far into the top 12. Placement points are flying in. Half of them at least at the top 8 is Veno, Vico, they're in that line of path. Marius looking up for only a quick second, not really focusing on the Queasy up above. It's probably too hard. You see the materials being drained right out of their inventory. Everybody else feeling the same thing, forcing Yamzo, Higgs, and Clix to drop down low. The blessing is they're in the front side of zone, so they have a little bit more to work with.
But the control from Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache on the high ground, Jacob, they're forcing all of these teams to swap players to ultimate low, and with that in mind, Mustache, Queasy, Swizzy, just non-stop berating. These teams are forced, they're looking up, they're looking down, they're trying to find refreshes, but they have no breathing room. They are being suffocated right now by height.
With the conversations going on before the Global Championship, Boo probably smiling ear to ear right now with EU doing the performance that they are, but Kanata Bolts, they're trying to channel how they played in game number 1, finds a key elimination on the Reed, not just elimination points, but placements as well. Cammy falls, more points from the lobby. Swizzy's trying to drop down low, he's just getting loot, he's bringing it back up to his IGL.
And that is all Swizzy has to keep tabs on alongside Mustache. Everything getting dropped at Queasy's feet so he can have the ultimate success here. But Marius, he's in too much trouble. Marius trying to squeeze away. It's Vico, it's Veno, and Flixie chasing them down. They know that they're gonna have to clear out all of these players inside of these lower layers if they want a real shot at beating Queasy up on height.
Yeah, if there's any team that I think has a chance to look up and at least give them a fight, it is going to be them, as Marius is forced outside of the zone, almost a 1v1 against Clix, and Clix gets the knock. Can he get the elimination? No, he can't. No Siphon for him, but the battle, the inevitability is finally here. Vico's taking charge, but he's also taking most of that damage. Flixie's forced to reload, and Venno is in that mid-cut as well, a challenge that they did not find success on, but relatively so. Even if they might not have the high ground, they put Queasy and Mustache on the back foot.
And that's the problem, Queasy, Mustache, they could still tank a little bit of zone here just because of that exotic Fizz, but at the same time, Vico, Venno, Flixie, they're now trying to remind everybody this might be Queasy's tourney so far, but we still want to take the Mustache finding the biggest elimination of the Venno, the Siphon carrying him forward, the hopes of Gentleman now resting on his shoulders. Flixie trying to hang, but Flixie wins it all, shutting down the dream here for Queasy. Venno saying it all, anything you can do, I can do better.
We talked about the 6 of 12. It was with that man right there, Venno, with Vico and Flixie by his side. They are looking like a terror on the lobby. Frankie, we gotta hear one from them by themselves. I was about to laugh to myself, because you're talking about Frodoxy and Tayson. But what about the 50 other teams that end up over at Rangers Ruin throughout the course of the game?
That's what it feels
They
like.
realize how this fight goes, and typically it might be left to just one person trying to clutch up. As Frodoxy gets that first sweeper shotgun, it's going to work out perfectly. Chicho goes down, Tayson follows next. That's back-to-back eliminations, but Chino's going to go down. That's going to give them an opportunity back, and if you notice, Frodoxy has no more ammo in his shotgun, and Riz is trying to take advantage of that fact. He finally picks up a few, but the damage has already been done. Riz with only 3 HP, and Pablo and Frodoxy on the other side are at least a duo, a strong duo at that, and they have a chance here to end the fight, and they do so with ease.
The moment they take out one team, they still got to deal with another one popping up from seemingly nowhere, and Pablo still working through the lobby. Brise and Coyota going to be victims at the other end of that shotgun barrel, but Yuma still trying to do what he can to pick up the pieces here. It was a nice knock onto Chino. Unfortunately, the 1 versus 2 situation, that's just so hard to convert into a victory there. You know, you're talking about Goofy and Mountain and what they're capable of, and is this even worth taking the battle? But they're in a pick your poison situation. They're so far northwest, their only options are Muzz, Mr. Savage, or Queasy. And they just keep landing on Queasy every time, while King and Phaser try to recover this battle up against Chino, Pablo, and Frodoxy.
Ooh, almost landed that good shot, but King, honestly, watching him throughout the season, when it comes to this double pump, it packs so much of a punch. He has Frodoxy and Chino on the slivers of HP.
Surge damage, and even with a successful reboot, hold that thought though, Pollo finally seeming to get a nice elimination here onto Kazi, back up, but they're still just in such a tight position, and no one is even backing down. All day long, teams have been openly embracing the fight with Peter Rock, Cold, and Ritual.
Yeah, drop spot aside, this is a game with the loot and the loadout that he has. You really have to make it count. Teddy Apko and Panzer, 678 above the damage threshold. They may not know Resigns is getting ticked by Storm Surge, but if they were close by, they could probably hear the shields crack, as Victor V is close by as well. I did see a couple of his teammates go down in the feed. I don't know if he's entirely a solo, but hey, it's Vic. Oh, well, no, that wasn't my fault, Taco. That wasn't my fault.
Okay, Aussie.
That was Ozzy. He's doing a watch party upstairs. It's definitely Ozzy's fault.
Oh, yeah, but Frodoxy, though, on the other end, he's actually got a glimpse of Queasy up in the skies. Queasy, having been spotted out, he knows this is trouble. We've got to start maybe working our way down. This is not the spot to be, but Chino, Pablo, Frodoxy, they don't care. They're looking to fully collapse. They see that Queasy is weakened, and they've actually completely overthrown the ultimate high ground position. But the fact that Queasy and Swizzy are still alive, Jacob, it's still the potential for placement points to keep building.
Yeah, this is almost looking like a full circle moment, because remember, it was Frodoxy, Pablo, and Chino the one that even took down Mustache in the first place and put him in such a rough spot overall, and they really haven't been able to recover from it since. Take a look at some of the action going down around the lobby. Kanata just taking matters into his own hands. The first knock, that was easy. The second one somehow was easier, and now Kanata's looking to pressure that third elimination. And that's something big for them, because you can see he's all by himself, still taking pressure, still taking damage from all directions, and quickly running out of builds.
But if it resembles a shotgun, Ganada can still max it out, and that's all he's looking for. A couple of Flowberry Fizzes still left at his disposal. Seti, rather weakened, but his trio mates still way too healthy. Panzer and Yapko can just overtake that part responsibility here. Panzer now holding down the walls. Hoyo, Agers, Acorn directly underneath. The elevation shifts can be brutal, but for Gino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy, all above it all, they have no issues whatsoever, which is suppressing these lower teams.
This is their time right here to move up that leaderboard and hopefully maybe even get into the top 5, especially being contested by not only Tayson, but as that fight ends, so many other teams moving over in that direction as well. Marius, Pixie, and Vanya, this is one of the teams that they have to potentially go through as well. As you're seeing Vanya get another elimination onto Mountain. That's their second one overall. 254 above the damage threshold. They're not focusing on taking any fights that they don't have to. Yamzo, Clicks, they both fall. Storm Surge is a huge thing that's taken them all out as the full trio's back to the lobby. Now Acorn's pressuring in. Marius sees him coming from a mile away. He goes up and over, dunking on him yet again. Now it's him versus Pollo. Zone's gonna finish the job. Marius with back-to-back eliminations.
Marius did such an excellent job at just pushing them fully back. That is a huge come up here as Agers now forced to try and see if he can bring it together. But Marius, he's just not slowing down anytime soon. Just continuing to barrel his way forward inside of the mid-ground layers. Ferdoxy, Pablo, Chino with height in their control. I just don't see a way for anybody else to actually jump up towards them anytime soon, and Chino just continues to spray all those teams making their way towards the front side of zone.
And they even reinforced it on their way on over, patiently waiting for the zone to pull. It's going to work out in their favor for the most part. And you see Pablo right now, he's the one building their top on over because he has the double pump. Letting his teammates put pressure down from above is a huge part of their game plan. As they're 257 above, Swizzy, he has taken down Peterbot, their third elimination of the game, and they're cruising inside of the top 12. This is what I'm talking about. You cannot expect this team to just go down without a fight.
It's the boost of materials that they have to work with too. Yapko recognizing directly overhead. He doesn't have an opportunity here. Wixie on the other end of his wall. Yapko going to be forced to layer swap here. He is dropping to ultimate low, but he has hardly anything left to work with here, Jacob. Backside of zone. It's going to be Marius, Pixie, Vanya. Now looking to play spoiler to these teams in the mid-ground. Marius just continued to tear away at everybody's HP.
Yeah, that double pump, and he's putting it to use. Storm is down in the outside of the zone. Marius is going to clean that one up. Couple more points, push them further and further closer to Queasy, who's still alive, by the way. Yapko is solo. He's just trying to get the most out of this as possible. Only 5 on the med miss, no extra builds, scrambling around, trying to catch somebody off guard, but it's he who falls to Pixie.
Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy still in the high ground. Swizzy and Queasy now working through ultimate low. This is a night and day difference for loadouts, but Swizzy still trying to bring it all together. He only has 5 builds, but he has to take a chance to heal, and Queasy picks it up where he left off. Eliminations onto Tisco now means that Queasy has some material to work with, and Marius, he's tarping his way through, but he might just run smack dab center into where Queasy is at, not to mention Ferdoxy, Pablo, Chino overhead.
This is a good moment for all the players down low. They're distracted up above, but not too distracted. They drop down. Surprise attack coming from above. Down goes Queasy. Pixie's gonna follow as well. Vanya's now by himself. He gets taken down by Chino. Pablo, Tino, they're the only 2 alive for the team from high ground to low. They're trying to take the fight to Demus, and that one is gonna be solidified. And a much-needed Siphon comes in just in time. A 2v1 situation, and it's Pix. He's so far out of zone, and the last medkit has already been used. A last desperation attempt to make his way into the zone, and it does not work. Ferdoxy, Pablo, and Chino take the game.
They knew that they were going to need an insane performance to close out the day. It's been a bit of a scuffle here, Jacob, but finding this victory royale in the final hour of day 1, that could be the ultimate difference maker, starting things off in day 2. First and foremost, though, we got to see what they have to say.